So economics, the major content what we are going to cover here is all about microeconomics, especially section 1, the basic economic problem. Why do we want to study economics and what could be the problem is going to be addressed because of studying this one. And we have the limited resources and we have unwanted, means unlimited wants and desire. So that resources is allocated in such a way that all the best options may be utilized, like, right. And this microeconomic could be applied for the by the decision makers, section 3. And government and uh, probably I may cover up to this one. This will come under microeconomics. So the basic problem, before we go into this first section, let's now complete nature of economic problem. So the nature of economic, okay, finite resources and infinite wants. You may have 100 rupees in your hand, but you're supposed to purchase, okay, 3 items. The values of these three being 75, 25, 150. Now, out of the available amount, you can now spend for purchasing A and B. C can be dropped. The best possible uh, units could be purchased using the limited resources. This is what about the unlimited one. This is what about the limited resources you have. Scarcity. Resources are limited, wants are unlimited. These are the keywords you have to understand. And you have to understand the difference between needs and wants. Needs being the essentials, without which survival will be tougher, okay, like food, clothing, and shelter. Wants are luxurious, like the best branded food, means branded clothing, and best restaurant services, star class, and star class accommodation. All these things are coming under wants, like cars, gadgets, and holidays, enjoying holiday trips, and all these things are wants. And you have to understand the difference between choice and opportunity cost. So we have two options to purchase, either A or B. Okay. If you choose A, now you're losing the benefit enjoyable from B, right? You're losing. Clear. Because of choosing this one, the benefit of the not choosing this is lost, that is called opportunity cost. Selecting one option means giving up the next best alternative. Okay. You have a 100 rupees note and 90 rupees note, 90 rupees cash bundle, and 80 rupees. If you choose, then you now lose not choosing this. If you are given the option to choose one of the three, you definitely go for choosing the best one. So assume that 100 rupees value, like, definitely you are now losing 90 rupees. You never bother about the 80 because you have chosen the highest one. So the next best alternative being 90, this is called opportunity cost. This is what about the choosing alternatives you have. Continuing nature. Scarcity never ends because wants are always growing. Wants are always growing. So definitely this scarcity will be in continuing nature, right? So this is what about the main theme. Economic problem in different contexts. Okay, what about the economic problem for consumers, workers, producers, and governments? In case of consumers, how to spend the limited income? Maybe they may earn around 50,000 rupees, like, okay, 50,000 rupees, like, and they have a number of things to be satisfied, like food, dress, shelter, and some recreation and all. How they could manage spending this 50,000 among these other means spending requirement they have, right? This will come under consumers problem. And in case of workers, which job to choose? He may have the three jobs to be chosen in interview. A gives the worker around 1 lakh rupees salary, and B gives him 80,000 rupees, and C gives only 50,000 rupees. But in case of A, he has to shift his own entire location from current place to the new place, far ahead from the current place. So he has to shift his family also. Though the revenue in this case is pretty high, but because of shifting, it may lead to extra cost. So he will end up with yeah, an opportunity which is closer to his own existing place, right? Existing place. Okay. So that's what about which job to choose also be matter depending upon the economic problem only, and producers what and how, for whom to produce. Always this will be the question comes in economics: what to produce, how can we produce that, and for whom it will be produced, right? What to produce? Will it be producing the luxury cars or normal cars, or would I develop or construct probably a mall or hospitals or education institution, right? See, government also having the same problem, limited resources, but they have to fulfill various social obligations, right? Similarly, producers also what to produce. Okay, will I want to construct the mall, shopping mall, or would I start an education institution or hospital? Again, depends upon the requirement and the policies, right? In case of government, how to allocate the tax revenue? The tax collected is again allocated for the health care and defense and education. So again, the tax revenue is limited one, but spending may be unlimited. Now they have to plan in such a way that limited tax revenue could be allocated for the three in a different way. So that will be most beneficial for the government as well as public, right? Now, you have to understand the difference between economic goods and free goods. Economic goods is nothing but having some money to pay. Okay, it's not free. Free goods are in abundance. You can get it without any payment, right? So, like free goods, yeah, air and sunlight. Already, it's very hot, right? So, sunlight there is no any problem, and the air. So, these are having no opportunity cost because it is an abundant available in abundant manner and available without payment, and usually the supply is higher than the demand. So availability is higher but the demand is very lesser. In these cases we can call this being the free good. And economic good is nothing but the goods are produced out of the limited resources and has an opportunity cost, scarce, and require resources to produce. Definitely for the resources they will demand a small price for that, so price charge. Example, cars and food, all these things are economic goods, not at all served in free, not supplied free, right? Now, so we have now understood the economic problems in three aspects. One is finite resources, unlimited wants, and different contexts like a consumer's view, workers' view, producers' view, government's view. And you have to understand the difference between economic goods and free goods. Free goods are available at free, has no opportunity cost, and economic goods are not free, has opportunity cost also, right? Clear? So that's a main theme. Factors of production. Whatever the item you're supposed to produce, probably you assume that you want to produce furniture. To produce the furniture you need to have the material, right? And a space to get your things done, a space, a factory, okay? And you need to have the carpenters, and for that you need to invest money, capital, right? So the fund required for installing this factory and other facility requires fund which is called capital, and organizing all these things will be called as enterprise. Is that okay? So, importance of factors of production: land, labor, capital, enterprises. Assume that, assume that, okay. Now, we produce the furniture, okay, furniture, a table, okay, a table is produced. For that, we have a factory, okay, and we need to have a carpenter, and organizing this will be with the help of the entrepreneur, Mr. A. Mr. A. And for constructing the factory and paying the carpenter in the very initial stage, we need to have the fund. Okay, fund is collected from the owners. Okay, probably in case of limited liability companies, we collect the money from various investors by way of share, ordinary share capital. Factory, we need land to operate and carpenter labor. With these four factors of production, table is manufactured. After manufacturing the table, we sell for rupees 10,000 per table. And later on, we came to know This 10,000 is due to these four factors of production, because of that reason, so we have to offer them some benefits. Sir, we earned 10,000 rupees, take 2,000 rupees for you, and take 2,500 for you, and for the carpenter 3,500 rupees, and ultimately the benefit is for Mr. A, 2,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees, is that okay? This 2,000 payable to the capital is nothing but interest. Okay, interest, like even sometimes it may be profit share. And land, the amount payable for this one being rent, and for carpenter it is wages. So each and every factors of production is expecting some revenue for their own contributions. So it's a commitment of the organizer to offer these facilities, means these consideration, also these factors of production. Now, land, land, natural resources. Land will not represent only the physical land what you see. It includes the soil, minerals, water reservoir it has, and forest and all these things. It's not only land. In case of labor, human efforts, it may be due to physical support or mental support, right? Some doctors and engineers also be labor, but predominantly they are supported by way of mental. And in case of blue collar job employees, they will physically support the organization. These two will fall under labor. Capital is nothing but man-made aids to production. Okay, like machinery, tools, and buildings. For all these things, fund is required. No, that fund is nothing but the capital. For example, we assume that three employees are there. They are generating income, and out of the income, a portion is saved with the bank, and the bank is lending the amount collected to various organizations in need. Okay, if the organization is in need of this fund and the organization lends the money for a small benefit, that benefit is nothing but interest, and this interest is again, after keeping a share for the bank's operation, shared to the various investors. That's how amount is collected and shared. So the amount is collected from various investors, it's nothing but man-made. The amount lent to organization may be used for constructing the machinery, tools, and buildings. Is that okay? Enterprise is nothing but entrepreneur, the head, Mr. A, who organizes the land, labor, and capital, and he takes a risk in case of result is negative. Of course, for the capital, interest is payable. For the land, rent is also payable. For the carpenter, wages is also payable. If instead of selling it for 10,000 rupees, if it is sold for 7,500 rupees, after sharing these three, ends with the 500 rupees negative value is taken by Mr. A. So Mr. A, being the entrepreneur, is responsible for taking any profits or losses, right? So for the responsibility of taking the profit or loss, he will be now offered some result. His result, that result is called profit or loss, right? And who is going to be the decision maker also. So these are the four important factors we have. Then next we'll move on to the next one, mobility of factors, whether the factors of productions are movable from one location to the another location. You know that in case of land, it will be a immobile one, geographically immobile, okay, cannot move, but usually mobility possible. Example, farmland to factory land. So you have a land here, you are cultivating with the various trees and other things, right, and bushes, like, but later on you demolish, you cut all these things and converted that into the factory. Okay, you converted that into the factory. Okay, okay, here you have the factory. So you constructed the factory and all. Okay, entrance, right? That's how you converted this. So you are able to change it, is its utilization from farm purpose to factory purpose. And geographically immobile, cannot be clear. And in case of labor, geographically mobility. So labor can be shifted. If the laborers are in one location, he gets a job in totally different location, immediately he can be transferred from one place to the another place. Okay, move to other places. But occupational mobility, okay, also be possible change of jobs. So he may be employed for doing certain job, and sometimes later he himself wants to change from one job to the another job, also be possible here, labor. And capital, also we have capital. This capital is highly movable because it's very easy to transfer from one place to another place, just depositing like money, machines. Okay, can be shifted and repurposed. You can use it for some purpose, and later you can change this money for different purposes also to be utilized. In case of entrepreneurs, enterprises most mobile. Okay, entrepreneurs can switch industries, adapt to opportunities. They just like that can shift from one location to the another location, just like that. Is that clear? Quantity and quality of factors. Whenever we talk about the factors of production, it will not be uniform. We'll have totally different characters and facilities. Quantity and quality, like land. Quantity is fixed in case of land, it will not be expandable. But quality could be improved by irrigation, fertilizing, and using the modern technology also, you can improve the land's quality. Quantity cannot be improved. In case of labor, quantity depends on the population, quality improved by education, training, and health, isn't it? So if you get trained, then you can do better job. Capital, quantity depends on savings and investments. If the investors are more, then definitely more savings will be there. Naturally, build up of capital will be there. You can use it for expanding the business. And quality improved by technology. Technology means, so how the capital quality could be improved. A proper allocation of these capital fund for giving most resources or most returns. Such a way we can analyze using some technology also. Okay, using the technology we can analyze, right? Enterprise. Quality depends on skill, innovation, and leadership also. The key person, the talented persons like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and some other. Okay, so their quality depends upon their skill and innovation and their leadership talent also. All these things are not same, maybe different, right? So quantity and quality of factors. Then next, and what we will pay for the factors of production for the land, rent, labor, wages, capital, interest, and enterprise. Result is nothing but the profit. Is that okay? Either it may be profit or loss. Opportunity cost is nothing but the benefit you lose because of choosing one alternative. So you have been given two choices. Okay, choice A or choice B. Choice A gives you 100 rupees benefit and choice B gives you 95 benefit. So if I ask you which one of these two you want to choose, then definitely you'll go for A. Because of choosing, now you are losing the benefit from non-selecting the B, which is 95 you are losing. This 95 is called opportunity cost, second best alternative. So definition, the next best alternative forgone when a choice is made. If you choose this, then this is left over, so forgone, right? Key idea, scarcity forces choices. So if you have the chance to select these two, then no problem, but you have the scarcity. So each and every commodity will be costing rupees 50, but you have only 50 rupees. So if you want to purchase A and B, you need to spend 100 rupees. Out of your available fund, you can choose one of these two. Because of the scarcity of resources, you have chosen A, not B, right? So because of this scarcity only, that opportunity cost is also be arisen. Every choice has a cost. If you choose 50 rupees, if you choose 50 rupees, right? Every choice has a cost. Example, choosing to buy a phone means giving up a holiday. Okay, so what happens? You need to work extra day to generate income. With that income, you can go and purchase the mobile phone. If you take holiday a week, then you don't have the revenue, you cannot purchase a mobile phone. So you have to sacrifice your holiday, work on the holiday, earn the money, and use that money for buying the mobile phone, right? Now, influence. Okay, influence of opportunity cost on decision making. For whose decision making? In case of consumers, workers, producers, and government. Okay, so in these four cases. Now, for the consumers, a limited income we have, okay, must choose between the goods. So then automatically what happens? Value of goods or services not chosen will be the opportunity cost. Clear? You have 50,000 rupees as your monthly income, and food, dress, shelter. Food cost us 30,000, 20,000 rupees, and dress cost us 15,000 rupees, and shelter cost us 15,000 rupees. You can afford only this much. But if you want to go for a quality restaurant, okay, a star class restaurant, like the cost being 40,000 rupees, And dress, if you go for the branded dresses, then it costs us around 60,000 rupees. And in case of shelter, a luxury apartment, you need to spend 40,000 rupees. So what happens? Definitely, you cannot choose this one. So you have to choose between these two, which is the better one between these two. So you have to choose this, and you are losing the benefit from non choosing this one. So this is what about the limited income with multiple choices. So opportunity cost is nothing but the value of the good or services not chosen will be taken. In case of workers' choice of jobs, okay, higher pay, better condition. Okay, do I want to go for higher pay or better condition? Already I discussed. No, I can get the job somewhere 100 kilometers away from city outskirts. Okay, we don't have any power or manpower, and we don't have any market facilities and recreation facilities, but income is high. But another one is nearby your current locality in city, where everything is accessible in a walkable distance. But here your payment being 1 lakh, here your payment is only 60,000 rupees. Then definitely you have to choose whether do you want to expect the higher pay or do you want to have a better condition. Okay, this is what about the choice for the workers. Opportunity beings benefits of the job not taken, right? And in case of producer, decide what to produce with limited resources. I may have say 100 kgs of material, and I can manufacture product A or product B using the same material. If I produce a product A using 100 kg, I can get around 200 rupees profit. But if I produce B using the same 100 kg, I can produce B and earn 300 rupees. Definitely these resources can be used for producing B because it gives me more profit, not this one. Is that clear? So the opportunity cost in this case being the benefit you lose because of non-producing this one. Is that okay? Profits from alternative product not made. And in case of government, most must allocate the tax revenue between competing needs. Okay. Whenever it's all about government, their predominant thing being defense and healthcare, and even education, right? We assume we have chosen two items here. One is defense, another one is healthcare. And now the question is, the government may decide or need to decide whether they want to invest in defense development or healthcare. Okay, so if you choose defense, and the benefit the government loses because of non choosing the healthcare will also be a matter. Okay, so opportunity cost being services not funded. Okay, not funded services. Is that okay? Hope we'll be now able to understand this one. So now we have to understand economic goods and free goods also. We already discussed in the earlier chapter in detail. Here the term opportunity cost only highlighted. Okay, which commodity or which goods, whether economic goods or free goods, will have opportunity cost. So naturally economic goods will have opportunity cost, free goods will not have opportunity cost. Is that clear? Now, production possibility curve. Production possibility curve, PPC in short. Okay, PPC in short. So production possibility curves. Okay, we can either produce capital goods or consumer goods. Okay, you can produce completely capital goods means so much, completely consumer goods means so much. Okay, I assume this may be x axis, this is y axis. 100 units of x can be manufactured, or 100 units of y can be manufactured. Rather than producing completely y and completely x, we can manufacture some combination of these two, may that comes here. Okay, or here or here. This place represents more of y and lesser of x, and this combination means more x and lesser y. Here more of y and lesser of x, and here purely y, here purely x. So if I connect all these dots, this is called possibility. Okay, production possibility curves. Okay, now whenever the production possibility curve is drawn, you need to understand this way. Okay, what's that? See here, in this case, in this case, when the curve is drawn this way, this will have a convex at the origin. Okay, exactly over the dot in that curve, if you put any dots, these are the opportunities or possibilities we have. If I want to produce here, will it be possible? Means, yeah, of course possible, but resources are not utilized fully. Beyond that, in this point, what happens? It is not possible to produce. Here, resources not completely used. Here, resources are in shortage. We cannot produce, but we can produce anywhere in over this particular line. That is called production possibility line. Right. See here, production point inside this point A, unemployment of resources not used properly, and in this case, impossible level of output. We cannot produce. Okay, and in the movement along the curve may be possible where reallocation of resources. Here you are allocating to produce completely Y. Here we produce the resources for producing only X. If you are moving along this curve, it means you are reallocating the resources to produce any combination of X and Y. Is that okay? Clear? Now, let's see. Here is production possibilities curve. Production possibilities curve. Okay. Here, definition. A PPC shows the maximum possible output combinations of two goods. Okay, maximum possible. Only these are the things possible. Maximum possible of two goods or services that can be produced with available resources and technology. What is the key idea? Scarcity, choice, and opportunities cost are also be analyzed in this PPC. Main assumption: resources are fully and efficiently used. That's what about the logic. So you have to produce anywhere between uh, or anywhere over the production possibility curve. Okay, PPC curve, right? And this point not possible. This point not possible. This point also not possible. This is impossible. This is possible, but where you are not using the resources properly. This much of resources are remaining unutilized. That's the logic. Okay. And production points. Production points. On the PCC, already we have seen no. Okay. These are the points possible. And this is unemployment of resources. This is impossible, right? So inside the PPC, inefficient use of resources. Outside the PPC, not attainable with the current resources and technology. It is not attainable, right? On the PPC, efficient use of resources is possible, right? Now, now, movement along a PPC and shape of PPC. The PPC seems to be a concave like, right? Concave, bowed out, increasing opportunity cost. Okay. So increasing opportunity cost. Is that okay? Why it is bowed out? Clear. Because of the opportunity cost. Resources not equally shooted. Resources are not equally shooted. Okay. For example, let's see. If I ask you, do you want to consume uh, ice cream or cool drinks? Preferably, I may go for ice cream, not cool drinks. After consuming ice cream, again I'm giving one more ice cream. You say, I don't want to go for cool drinks. Again, if I ask you third time, what do you want to go? Ice cream, not this one. And fourth time, what do you want to have? Sir, I want to have cold drinks, not this one. Earlier, your temptation is very high for the ice cream, but the cold drinks being 60. If you are consuming the same again, your temptation is now gradually decreasing to 90 and it becomes 60. And it again goes to 70 and it is remaining 60. And then you already consumed three times ice cream, so you will now felt irritated with consuming the same. If I ask you to take one more ice cream, you will feel, no, sir, I will take only ice cream worth of 50 rupees, not this much. But the cool drinks is 60, right? So naturally now you will shift from ice cream to cold drinks. So that's a benefit. So increasing opportunity cost. The opportunity cost between these two is what? 60 and 90 and 60. Now the difference between these two, earlier 40, now the difference between these two is 30, here 10, here minus 10. So the opportunity cost is increasing. Opportunity cost is increasing. Either you can say that this will be the net difference between the cost between these two, maybe assumed to be the opportunity cost. That opportunity cost is gradually decreasing due to increase of this value, not this value. This value is reducing, this value is increasing. And why not? This will be the uniform one. Straight line, constant opportunity cost. Constant opportunity cost means ice cream 100, and cool drink 60, you'll get feel. Always it is 160. This is called constant. Really, constant is not matter. It's not practically applicable. Once you start consuming the same item again and again, your feelings on consumption will be gradually, or craving for consuming that will be gradually decreasing. You'll shift yourself from one to the next one. And movement along the curve, choosing different combination of two goods reflect the opportunity cost. Okay. Now, if you are moving from here to here, what does it mean? Opportunity cost is increasing. What happens in case of a straight line? Here the opportunity cost being constant. Practically it is not possible. Only this case is possible. That's why the PPC looks most of the cases concave. Some rarest scenario we may have the straight line opportunity means PPC also, right? Now shift in PPC. What happens if I draw the PPC as this one? Sometimes later the PPC is shifting from here to here. So already told you, know what's that? What's that? Producing after this PPC curve here not possible. But now the curve is shifted. How? Maybe because of technology. Maybe because of technology. Earlier we produce all these things using manual labor. Sometimes later you introduced your machines. So using the labor you can produce 5 units per hour. Using the machine you can produce 10 units per hour. So naturally, with that same time, you now produce more units because of the advancement of the technology. So outward shift also possible. Then you can move from the existing PPC curve to the next PPC, which is outside. Okay, economic growth, more resources, better technology, improved productivity. Will it be possible to shift inward? Yeah, of course. That way, that situation also be available here, where resources lose, loss of resources like war, natural disaster, economic decline. What happens? We may use the raw material here. Due to the war, the raw material we are not able to get it properly. So you now see various wars between the nations currently taking place, right? Between Ukraine and Russia. Due to that one, then oil is in crisis. Oil is one of the raw materials. As oil availability is now decreasing, automatically what happens? Your production will be reducing. You are moving from here to here, no other way. This is also possible. Okay. Consequences. Change in production capacity. If the production is increasing from here to here, automatically there will be huge economic growth, and naturally you will get more employment, and revenue also be generated in huge. Affects living standard, employment, growth potential. So these are the cases we have to face in case of shift in PPC. The shift may be in either shade. Either shade. Now, shape of PPC already we discussed, usually bowed out, predominantly bowed out. Now, if I ask you a question, why do we have bowed out, otherwise a concave style of PPC? Increasing opportunity cost, usually increasing opportunity cost. If these two are constant, then it's a straight line, which is really rare. As production shifts from one good to the another, resources less suited for the new goods are used. Okay, resources less suited for the new goods are used. This leads to a greater sacrifice of the other good, increasing opportunity cost, right? Greater sacrifice of the other good. Okay, because of producing, currently you are producing A, sometimes later you start produce the B. As you are shifting from producing A to B, usually you thought the beneficial one being A only. Because of shifting, you are now losing huge benefits. Because of that reason, opportunity cost will be increasing always. Okay, greater sacrifice. Okay, do you want to have A and B? If I ask this question very first, you will always go for A because you feel that may be superior than the B. Sometimes later, because of the resources availability, A will not be suitable, so you still go for B, yet you feel you are losing more benefit. Yet you will be shifting. Though the losing will be there, yet you will be shifting to B because of the non-availability of resources. Resources specialization. Resources are not equally efficient in producing all the goods. That's one more reason. Land better for farming may be inefficient for industrial uses. Okay, some land may be better for farming. So then the land is predominantly used for the farming purpose only, though industrial purpose will give more benefit. Though it gives you more benefit, but you want to use it for farming purpose also. That may also be a reason. Though in the opportunity cost may be higher, still you produce, you use the land for agriculture purpose. Is that clear? What if PPC is straight line? Will it be straight line? Yes, straight line also possible where the opportunity cost is constant. You understand the difference between this one and that one? Each unit of one good sacrifice gives the fixed amount of the another good. Okay, see A or B, A or B. Hmm? For example, this may be A or O, like you can name this being apple and orange. Okay, so you have rupees 200. Apple cost us rupees 20 per apple, and orange cost us 10 per unit. Okay, so if you go for apple, you can purchase how many apples? 10 apples. If you go for orange, you can purchase 20 oranges. Now, now you can either purchase 10 apples or 20 oranges. You can either purchase 10 apples or 20 oranges. Right. You can do this way: 0, 0 and 20. This is one choice, this is the last choice. Or a combination. You can reduce it by 2 units. Instead of that, now you can increase the oranges. So 8 into 20, 8 into 20, 160 is for apple. Another 40 rupees you can use it for orange purchase. For orange, every orange costs us 10 rupees. For 40, you can purchase 4 oranges. Or 6, 8. Or this may be 4, this may be 12, like this may be 12, like you can change. Okay, this will be a straight line like. Okay, assume apple and orange. Okay, this will be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 and all. Here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now you can produce or purchase. You think that amount is considered as a resources. Using this 200 rupees, you can produce completely apple 10 apples, no oranges. Otherwise, you can produce completely oranges, 20 oranges, no apple, or any combination, 8 apples and 4 oranges, 8 and 4 maybe here, and 4 apples and 12 oranges, 4 apple and 12 oranges. If I connect these dots, this will be a straight line. Now, now what happens? When I offer you to take either apple or orange, you will be very happy to take apple. Okay, but if I consistently giving the same apple again and again, you will be dissatisfied and you want to shift to oranges. Okay, you want to shift yourself to oranges. Because of shifting from apple to orange, you are now moving the selection from left to right over the same line. This line remains straight, remains straight. This will be possible only when the opportunity cost being same. Practically, it's not possible. Okay, it means 2 oranges is equal to 1 apple. If I ask you, do you want to choose apple or orange, you will choose only apple. If I ask you 1 apple or 2 orange, then you'll see, okay, I'll choose this one. Because 2 oranges, no, rather than 1 apple, so you need to consider the quantity. Do you want to have quality or quantity? That's the matter, right? So that's the logic, okay? Each unit of one unit good sacrifice gives a fixed amount of the another good. So if you sacrifice 2 unit, you will get 4 units here. Here, if you sacrifice 2, you'll get 4. As these two are same, that's the reason why we have straight line. Okay. Perfect substitutability of resources. Okay. See this 200 rupees. 200 rupees. Instead of 200 rupees, we may assume that we have two resources also. Okay. Probably material X, material Y. Because we are talking about, rather than rupees, we are talking about what? Resources only, material X and material Y. Probably material X being plastic and material Y being steel. You want to purchase you want to manufacture the table using plastic completely, steel completely, or mixture of these two also possible, right? So mixture of these two also be possible. Resources are equally efficient in producing both the goods, rare in real world scenarios. Okay, this either you can use a plastic or steel or proportionately. In that case, when we have straight line for the PPC, means where these resources are equally efficient. Definitely in a real world scenario, it is being the rarest scenario. So that straight line is rare. Only earlier case, the bowed out concave version will be the most suitable one. Clear? allocation of resources. Here, you have to understand a small difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Right. Microeconomics is nothing but a study of individual units, like what about the behavior of a consumer or the producer, being the firms, and markets where consumers and firms are meeting and exchanging their goods. We study about the behavior of consumers, behavior of firms, and behavior of market. For example, if the price is decreasing, quantity demanded will be increasing, will be the behavior of consumer. But in case of firm, if the price is increasing, it will give more benefit. So firms or supplier will be happy to supply more. Quantity supplied will be increasing. Here, this is decreasing, this is increasing. Inversely related. Inversely related. Okay. And this will be directly related. Directly related. Clear? And what about the firm? Firm using these two parties' behavior, this market. The market will determine the price. That will be called equilibrium price. Okay. The price at which the quantity demanded and quantity supplied will be equal. Okay. Price at which quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. This will be called equilibrium price decided by the market forces. Okay, these two are the market forces. In buyers and sellers are the market forces predominantly, and the market decides or finalizes the price based on the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Like price, demand, supply, cost, profits. Those things only we are discussing, An example, how a firm sets the price of its product, how the firm is fixing the price. Firm fixes based on the profitability, and consumer expects the price should be lower to get more benefit. And depending upon these two, market finalizes the absolute price, which is called equilibrium price. Studying about this one is called microeconomics. Otherwise, we will say this being the price identification mechanism. So, in case of macroeconomics, economy as whole means national level, international level, national income, inflation, unemployment for the entire nation, and growth of a nation's economy, and overall trade of nation and international. So main example here being government policy to reduce inflation. In case of inflation, my government will take the actions to reduce the inflation, and if there is any unemployment, government take the remedial actions to create more employment and all. That will fall under macroeconomics. Connection between micro and macro. Okay, micro and macro. So micro decisions aggregate to form macro outcomes. Okay, so firms, earlier, they want to produce 1000 units. Now, they want to increase the production to 10,000 units. Okay. Firm A. Now, one more firm also entered. A, B, C, like a number of firms entered. So, 1000 units is now converted into 10,000. Definitely, earlier we got only 10 employees, employment for 10 employees. Now, we may get employment for 100 employees. So, unemployment problem may be resorted. For the aggregation of all these production will be called as macroeconomics. This will be now enforced by the government. Government may give lots of subsidy incentives to start new business. So as the government gives lots of subsidy and incentive, naturally huge profit will be there. Newcomers will come and automatically the production will increase. Ultimately, it leads to recruiting additional employees. So unemployment problem will be reducing. So individual spending affects the national demand. Okay. So in a society, assume that in Tamil Nadu, we have a population of 7 crores. You imagine that we have the population of 7 crores. All the 7 crores populations are now investing only 100 rupees per head. Suppose that investment is increases to 1000 rupees. What happens then? Huge capital is available, right? Capital is now increased by 10 times, and naturally to that extent the amount may be mobilized and invested in some different businesses, and that leads to huge employment opportunity. Again, ultimately that employment opportunity creates huge income. The income again creates more spendability of these 7 crore people. So simultaneously, so individual spending will affect the national demand also. Macro policies influences micro level choices. So micro level choices, do I want to produce this or not? So this 1000 units only produced currently is now changed to 10,000 units of production because of the government's intervention here. So government may give some subsidy and incentive to produce more units. Then definitely macro level, macro policies, government's policies will have the influence over the micro level choices. Example, tax changes and consumer spending and all, right? Consumer spending and all. Clear? Now, decision makers and their aims. In case of microeconomics, who are the decision makers? Consumers, workers, firms, and owners. Okay. In case of consumers, whatever the amount they spend or resource they utilize, they need to get more satisfaction, maximize the satisfaction or utility. In case of workers, they need to increase their income and need to get job satisfaction also. In case of firms, their profit should be maximized. Owners, whatever the amount invested on that return should be maximized. So these are the intention. Is that okay? Macroeconomics and decision makers. And that's what about micro. In case of macroeconomics, government, central bank, and international bodies. In case of government, economic growth, price stability, creating full employment to their population, and balance of payments. The balance of payment is the difference between the payment they do for foreign countries and the amount recovered from foreign countries. It should be balanced. There should not be extra amount payable to the foreign country. If it is so, then the economy will be in trouble. Central bank. Okay, central bank, the main bank in India, RBI, Reserve Bank of India is the central bank. Their intention is to control the inflation, dealing with the money, and manage the interest rates and stabilize the currency rate. See, rupee by dollar, rupee by dollar. Currently, it is hovering anywhere between 86 to 88 per dollar. Suddenly, if the price goes to 150 per dollar, it's a really dangerous thing for the government, Indian government. So you have to be double cautious that that price or the exchange rate for every dollar should be more or less stable. Okay, that's what about the intention of the central bank, and this is what about their role also. In case of international bodies, promote global trade between two countries, and financial stability uh, by IMF and WTO. Okay, World Trade Organization and international money. Okay, so this is all about the main concept of microeconomics and macroeconomics, the difference between these two. Whenever we talk about the microeconomics, these keywords should be there. In case of macroeconomics, these two key terms should be there in your mind. And decision makers, in case of micro as well as macro, also be listed here. Now, the role of markets in allocating resources. Markets, the role of markets. Resources are limited. No, how these resources are going to be allocated is the main intention. Three main questions are going to be asked: what to produce, how to produce, to whom it should be distributed. What to produce? Do you want to produce high profitable one or not? Based on the consumer demand and profitability, we decide. Okay, like more smartphones if demand is high. If the demand is high for the smartphones, all the resources are used for producing the smartphones as it is more profitable. So always the manufacturer will think over the profitability also, or predominantly profitability. The product gives you more profit will be most chosen one to produce. Because of that production, consumer demand met with high profit, high profit share. How to produce? The production being either it may be using the labor force or machine. Okay, and whatever it may be, their main intention is to reduce the cost of production. Okay, cost effective production method. whether it is being the labor intensive or capital intensive. Capital intensive means predominantly you are going to introduce the machines, right? To whom to produce? Based on the purchasing power and income. Based on the purchasing power and income. To whom to produce? Then the employees are the population are average means people. They don't have the wealthy resources with them, and they are not wealthy also, right? In that case, they have to produce the moderate things, right? If they have a high income consumers, okay, definitely they are capable of purchasing the goods by paying the premium money. Then luxury goods could be manufactured. Luxury goods could be manufactured. Is that clear? And different economic systems. Different economic system. So we have a market economy, planned economy, and mixed economy. Planned economy is nothing but the economy predominantly controlled by government. Okay, predominantly controlled by government. So market economy is nothing but market force decides. Means each and every firms will be having the intention to make huge profit. That's what about the intention. So decision made by private individuals and firms will be in market economy. In case of planned economy, government controls all decisions. And in case of a mixed economy, it's a combination of these two. Combines market freedom with the government intervention also. Market are freely market means the products are manufactured freely as per the profitability. While doing that, some profit some product may be saleable in the market at a prefixed rate. The price will not be high. Okay, in case of India, uh, petrol products, okay, priced a constant rate of say 100 to 102 rupees. And probably the market players, that Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum, they can raise the price to make huge profit. Again, government comes for the intervention. These products are most important for the day-to-day consumption of the public, so they should not get affected. Due to that reason, the government will come for the intervention, not to go beyond this rate. They will put the cap for the price. Even in case of hospitals and education, if education is completely in the hands of the private, the fee may be very high. Then government comes for the rescue. They will fix the tariff collected from the students, and somewhere those who are not capable of paying the education fees can admit their students in the government controlled schools where the fees is nil or very limited, right? So this is called mixed economy. India and UK predominantly we have mixed economy. In case of market economy, USA is predominantly market economy. In North Korea, they have the planned economy. Everything is under the control of government only. Now, a market economic system, private ownership of resources, the ownership for the resources, whatever the asset may be owned by the private people. So if you go for the park and some other places, park and the zoo, owned by the government, right? So if it is owned by the government, means anybody can go and enjoy the facilities, the government's common place. Private means the park may be run by private players. In India, we have the government owned parks here or there, and also privately held parks also, especially theme park in India, Wonderland, all held by private players and invested by a private team. So they are the owners, and others will pay and enjoy the facilities, and whatever the payment they demand will be as per the market's rate fixed, right? Private ownership, and their intention is predominantly profit motive. Profit motive drives the production. If you want to produce more, and the producer will always think, is there any profit or not? The first intention is to make huge profit. And consumer sovereignty. In case of market economy system, consumer are the king. Means consumer, if the consumers are demanding more, then automatically those items are produced. Okay. If the consumer neglect to purchase, then those items are not going to be produced. So the decision of production by the consumer, by the producer, is based on the consumer's decision only. Consumers decide what to produce. Competition encourages efficiency and innovation. In case of market economy, definitely there will be huge competition, right? So that only so if there is no competition, then the product will not be good enough. If the competition is high, and it encourages the efficiency and innovation, right? Limited government role. Government will not control this one. So mainly regulation and protections only will be in the hands of the government. Rest will be in the hands of the private player. This is what about the market economy. Okay, market economic system. And role of price mechanism. Okay, role of price mechanism. Okay, now rising price is signal for the high demand, and incentives. Higher prices encourages producers to supply more. So price is the predominant one here. Okay, if the price is increasing, what happens? Okay, you can decide that the demand is also be increasing. Willing to sell at higher price, making huge profit. Profit increases. As profit increases, then producers are happy to produce more. Okay, okay, higher price encourages producers to supply more because this leads to higher profit. Okay, and rationing. Sometimes there may be scarce goods, and allocated to those willing to pay. If there are some scarce goods are there, for example, electricity. Okay, in India we have many different layers of electricity billing. Probably 2 rupees per unit, like goes up to 10 rupees per unit. Okay, if the consumers are probably low income earners, and they will be now offered with the 2 rupees. High income earner will be charged with 10 rupees. If you are being the businessman, you have to pay 10 rupees, like. Okay, so electricity is again needed for all the people, right? But anyhow, if I'm be able to pay 10 rupees per unit, then all the electricity supplied to me, then this party will be, low income earner will be in trouble. So they should also be offered. Okay, that is called rationing. You have to give them some part of electricity at discounted price for the low income earners also. So allocating the scarce goods in such a way to those willing to pay, those who are not able to pay. Equilibrium, price adjusted at balance to balance the demand and supply. Is that okay? So equilibrium price is nothing but the price at which quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. We'll study this in subsequent lectures in detail. Hope you'll be now able to understand the role of price mechanism. Price is the main thing here. That is a signal, and the price increase gives the incentives, like to the producer to produce more to make huge profit. And if the resources being scarce, and the price is also be the deciding factor to whom this will be supplied. If the resources being the scarce, and those who are capable of paying more will be supplied for the others. Okay, those goods needed means may be supplied, otherwise not supplied, right? And now you have to understand the difference between market and planned economy. Planned economy is the economy controlled by the government. Market is nothing but free from the government interventions, only decided by the market forces. Who is the owner in market economy? Private players. In case of planned economy, government is the owner. In case of decision makers, okay, in private economy, consumer sovereignty, right? So consumers are the king here, consumers and firms. And in case of planned economy, government will be the planners. Price mechanism in market economy, it is active. It is absent here in the government, because so when you go for government hospitals, right, it is government owned hospital where the price is zero or nominally charged. When you go for the private hospital, this fee may be exorbitant, right? So price is the deciding factor. If you are affording any level of price, then you can go for a star class treatment, like hospitals, and somewhere you can go for the low clinic running in the evening by a small doctor, and where the price decides whether you can go here or a star class hospitals, like. Okay, that's what about your decision, price mechanism. But in planned economy, this prices mechanism is absent, because the price is now controlled by the government. Efficiency in market economy, it is high because of the competition. Anybody can come, anybody can own the property, then automatically it comes under high. Planned economy, often low. Innovation in market economy encouraged, because there's a premium or profit will be there for innovation. So the higher profit motivates the firms to innovate a lot, and introduce new products also. But here it's limited, because any of the prices not being the deciding factor here. Now, demand. Let's start with the demand concept. Demand is nothing but the quantity of goods or services demanded that consumers are willing and able to pay, willing and able to buy at a given price over a period of time. These are the components will be there. So key elements are willingness to purchase. Not only willingness, they need to have the amount to pay, ability to purchase, and also willing to pay the price also be matters, and time also matters, all the four being the key elements here. Now A wants to purchase a, okay, probably a Benz car, okay, but the price of Benz car in India seems to be 1 crore, okay, and A has only 10,000 being his monthly salary. Now the question is, will he be able to purchase? He is willing to purchase, but his ability is not there. He is not able to purchase only 10,000, but the requirement is 1 crore. Even the running cost itself, to operate the Benz car, it costs us 40 or 50,000 rupees per month. It's not possible. So willingness is there, but the ability is missing. Now, A is having 10,000 rupees per month and he wants to purchase an ice cream. Okay, ice cream. Now, the ice cream costs us rupees 100. Will he be able to purchase? Yes, of course he can purchase. So willingness is there, ability to pay and purchase the ice cream is also there. And what about the price? Price is also affordable. Now, what about the time? It's winter time. Okay, heavy chill climate and he's already shivering and feeling like feverish. Definitely, this is the not right time to purchase the ice cream. If it is being the summer, definitely he might have gone there. And suppose the ice cream is in premium, so 2000 rupees per scoop. So 1000 rupees, but the price is 2000 rupees. Willingness is there and ability is there. Time also summer, but price is exorbitantly high. He feels unsatisfied with that high price, so he will not purchase. So whenever he wants to purchase, the willingness should be there. The ability to pay is also be there, and the price at that moment will also be matters, and time also be matters. Okay, all these things will be combined, collectively will be called as definition of the demand, or demand will be considered here. All these things put together will be considered for the demand. Okay, now what about the relationship between demand and price? If the price increases, quantity demanded also decreases, and if the price decreases, quantity demanded also increases. Inversely related. So the relationship between these two being inversely related. Price falls and quantity demanded rises. You have to use the term quantity demanded if this one falls and this one rises, and vice versa. Okay, represented by the downward sloping demand curve on a graph. It can be shown as a curve, downward showing graph. This one will be called a demand curve. This will be called a demand curve. Okay, and now you have to understand what is the difference between market and individual and market demand. So in the market, probably customer A will come and purchase, say he purchases 1 kg of onion, and in the same market, almost 50 customers are purchasing 1 kg each. If you consider the total purchased item 50 kg will be called as market demand. This is market demand, this is called individual demand. So individual demand is nothing but demand of a single consumer. Market demand is nothing but total demand of all consumers in that market. Now see the demand curve and the demand schedule. Okay. So demand curve is here given. Okay, if the price is, see, remember the y-axis always being the price and x-axis being always representing quantity in this case. If the price is 5, the quantity demanded being 10. If the price is 5, quantity demanded is 10. So A is the point. And if the price is decreasing to 4, as the price is decreasing, quantity demanded will be increasing, right? So quantity demanded is increasing from 10 to 20. So if I mark this, this is the place, okay? Such a way we can mark. If I connect all these dots, and this will be called a demand curve. This is called demand curve. This will be called a demand schedule. This is called demand curve, okay? Now, you have to understand the concept of extension of demand and contraction of demand, okay? See, in this demand curve, okay, in this demand curve, okay, see, at 5 rupees, quantity demanded being 10. When the price decreases to 3, quantity is now 30. So 3 means quantity demanded being 30, almost here. Okay, the points may be here. Dot's not correct, so I'll show here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. If the price being 5, quantity demanded being 10. And if the price falls to 3, The quantity demanded being 30. You know that this is the demand curve. This is the demand curve, DD curve. And because of this reason, instead of here, now the change happens to this. From here to here, it's moving, right? If the movement happens over the curve or along the curve, this is called contraction expansion. Now the quantity is increasing from 10 to 630, no, then it is called expansion. In a reverse case, if the price increases from 2 to 4, 2 means 40, okay, 2 means 40, isn't it? 4 means 20. 4 means quantity demanded being 20. If you are moving from here to here, this is called contraction. Due to the price change, if the quantity demanded increases, then it's called expansion. Due to the price change, if the quantity demanded is decreasing, then it's called contraction. Hope you'll be now able to understand the expansion and contraction. So, extension, otherwise named as extension. Extension of demand is nothing but movement down the curve. In that curve, if the movement happens from top to bottom, from here to here, then it is called extension. Similarly, if it happens the other way, movement up, then it is called contraction of demand. So contraction and extension, you should not have any confusions, right? Now you have to understand the another term, conditions of demand. Conditions of demand, changes in demand, changes in demand, increase in demand and decrease in demand, increase in demand and decrease in demand. Entire demand curve shifts right. Okay, see, this will be called your demand curve, DD curve. If the DD curve is shifting from existing to the other side, okay, this will be called increase in demand. This is called increase in demand. Okay, clear? And if the same curve shifting from this point to the left side, then it is called decrease in demand. Decrease in demand. Is that clear? Now see, to make you understand, see, this is what about the curve. If the demand moves from bottom to top over the same curve, from here to here, extension. If it happens in the reverse case, then it is called contraction. This will be the demand curve. If the demand curve moves from here to this side, then it is called increase in demand. If the same moves from here to this side, then this is called decrease in demand. Hope you'll be now able to understand. To make you understand further, let me see here. Let me explain here. Now, price, quantity demanded. Price and quantity demanded. If the price is 5, quantity demanded being 10. If the price is 4, the quantity demanded being 12. If the price decreases to 3, then quantity demanded being 14. If the price decreases to 2, then it is 16. If the price is 1, then this value being 18. Moving from here to here leads to increase in quantity demanded, right? Then it's called expansion, extension. Suppose if you think the movement happens from here to here, here to here, 1 rupee becomes 3 rupees because of the rising of the price, quantity demanded decreases from 18 to 14, then it is called contraction. Right. Now, suppose I write here, I need space once again. Yeah. Price, quantity demanded. If the price is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and your quantity demanded being here 10 units, as price decreases, you now consume more, 12, 14, 16, and 18. Is that okay? But your monthly income by this time is only 10,000. Suddenly you got good job. Your monthly income increased from 10,000 to 20,000. Now what about the quantity demanded? Price is the same 5, But your income is now increased from 10 to 20. No, you are capable of purchasing more quantity. Rather than 10, you now purchase 12 units. In the case of 4 rupees, you are willing to purchase 16 units. In case of 3, you will be willing to purchase 8, 18 units. Okay. Okay, I'll make it this way: 14 units, 16 units, 18 units, and 20 units. Due to the income change, the quantity demanded is increasing. No, this will be called as increase or decrease in demand. Increase in demand. This will be called as extension or contraction. I draw the diagram here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now here 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, like the first one, when the price is 5, quantity demanded being 10, maybe here, and 4, the quantity demanded being 12, 1, the quantity demanded being 18. This will be the demand curve. This will be the demand curve. Okay. Now what happens, your income is 20,000, then what happens for the same 5 rupees? How many quantity you are now purchasing? 12 units. For 1 rupee, you can purchase 20 units. If I connect these two dots, this will be the demand curve. DD1, first one. This demand curve shifts from left to right due to the increase in income. Income increase. Income increase leads to increase in demand. Increase in demand. Okay. So not because of the price, because of the income change, the quantity demanded is the quantity means demand is increasing, then it is called increase in demand. Suppose you lost your job, you have to manage your entire thing with the 3,000 rupees stipend you will be getting from your family. Now the same 5 rupees makes you to purchase only 6 units. In case of 4, you can purchase 8 units because you don't have the income sufficient enough to purchase all the items. In case of 3, 10. Here 12. In case of 1, you can purchase only 14 units. So for 5 rupees, you are now able to purchase only 6, then this will be the item. For 1 rupee, you can purchase how many units? 14. This will be the new line. Your DD curve shifts from existing place to the left side. This is called decrease in demand. Decrease in demand. Okay. You have to understand the difference between increase and decrease in demand. So due to income change, if the demand changes for the same price with respect to the same 5 rupees, 10 becomes 12, 10 becomes 6. 10 becomes 12 means this will be called increase. 10 becomes 6 means it is called decrease. Because of the price from 5 to 3, quantity demanded is increasing. This is called extension. Because of the moving the price from 2 to 4, quantity demanded decreases from 16 to 12. No, this is called uh, extension and contraction. This is called contraction. Hope you'll be now able to understand all these points. Causes of demand changes. Why the demand changes? Causes. Okay. Now, now, one is income, another one is price of related products, another one is advertising campaign, population change, and taste and fashions and other factors. These are the reasons. Okay. Now, price increases, quantity demanded decreases, price decreases, quantity demanded increases. This one is called contraction and extension with respect to the price. With respect to the price, we still have other factors influencing the quantity demanded. Okay, other factors. Those other factors are going to be discussed, not being the price. If income increases, quantity demanded or quantity also be increases. Demand also increases. Isn't it? Just now we have seen here. As income increases from 10,000 to 20,000 rupees, quantity demanded increases from 10 to 12. Is that clear? Okay. Now, income increases, quantity demanded increases. Income decreases, demand decreases. Okay. Now, the question is it true always? Is it true always? No. See, A purchases the goods from roadside shop. Okay. Roadside shop. When his income is 10,000. Because the commodity available here are cheaper. And when his income is increases from 10,000 to 1 lakh, now what happens? Earlier he purchases from roadside, now he stops purchasing from here, he purchases from the luxury mall. So quantity demanded in roadside is now decreasing due to the change in the price, change in income. If income increases, okay, the roadside quantity demanded is decreases. If income decreases, no other way he is not able to afford to purchase the goods in the mall, so he purchases only in the roadside. Demand decreases. From this, it is very clear roadside means inferior. In case of inferior goods, income increases, demand decreases. In case of income decreases, demand also decreases. Directly related. Okay, income decreases, demand increases. Sorry, income decreases, demand increases. This will be for inferior goods. In case of normal goods, it will be totally different. So, income increases, demand also increases in case of normal goods. But in case of inferior goods, income increases, demand decreases. As he is capable of spending more for purchasing the luxury store rather than in roadside, the demand in roadside will be naturally decreasing. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Remember, in case of normal goods, directly related. In case of inferior goods, inversely related. Inversely related. Okay. This will be very, very key point to be noted. These types of question you can expect in MCQ. Now we'll move on to the price related products. Price related products. What is called related products? Assume that. Assume that. Now, pen and ink. Okay. If you purchase one pen, you need to purchase one bottle of ink. Isn't it? Assume so. If you purchase two pen and you need to purchase two bottles of ink. Means these two are complementary. These two are called complementary products. Complementary product. And coffee and tea. Coffee and tea. If you purchase coffee, you don't purchase tea. If you purchase coffee, if you don't purchase coffee, you drink tea. You will not drink coffee and tea simultaneously, isn't it? If you order coffee, it means that you will not purchase the tea. If you order tea, then you don't purchase coffee. And in this case, these two are called substitute product. One instead of the another one. That is called substitute product. Substitute product. Is that clear? Now, how about the price behavior in this case? Now, in case of pen, okay, its price increases. 10 rupees becomes 20 rupees. Pen 10 rupees becomes 20 rupees. Quantity demanded of pen. What happens? Quantity demanded of pen. Okay. Price 10 means assumed that we need to purchase 10 units of pen. Price increases. Definitely it's unaffordable. We purchase only 5 units. Okay. What about the ink? Quantity demanded of ink. If I need to purchase 10 pen, I need to have 10 bottles of ink. If it is being 5, I need to have only 5 bottles of ink. Is that clear? Okay. If price increases, quantity demanded decreases, and ultimately quantity demanded of ink also decreases. Am I right? Price increase of pen decreases the quantity demanded of pen. Ultimately, as ink being the complementary, the quantity demanded of complementary product also be decreasing. Now, what's the relationship between these two? What's the relationship between these two? Okay, this is nothing but price of pen increases, quantity demanded of ink decreases. Inversely related. Okay, so you have to connect between what? Pen and the quantity demanded of ink. Quantity demanded of ink. It's not price of pen and the quantity demanded of pen. Price of pen and quantity demanded of ink. As these two commodities are what? Complement. Increase in price of pen decreases quantity of ink. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Clear? In case of complement, inverse relationship will be there. Inverse relationship will be there. Is that clear? Clear? Now, let's see. What about the complement? Complement. Okay. What about the complement? Now, coffee and tea. Price of coffee, quantity demanded of coffee, and quantity demanded of tea. If the price of the coffee being 10 rupees per cup, you purchase 3 cups of coffee a day. If the price increases to 15, as the price increases, quantity demanded will be decreasing. Instead of 3 cups, you prefer to have only 2 cups. If the price increases from 10 to 15, further to 20, you purchase only 1 cup of coffee. When the price is 10, coffee is cheaper, you consume 3 coffees and only 1 tea a day. Okay. If the price of the coffee increases, quantity demanded for the coffee is increasing, you know. So now quantity demanded for that will be decreasing. Price of coffee is increasing, you now consume lesser coffee. To compensate that, you can purchase a tea. So your tea purchase will be increasing from 1 to 2. Similarly, in case of price increases from 50 to 20, coffee becomes very expensive. You purchase only 1 coffee a day. For the remaining 3, he consumes the tea. So you need to connect these two, price of the coffee and quantity demanded of tea. Okay, in case of price of coffee, if the price increases and quantity demanded of coffee also increases. This will be for what? Substitute or competitive product. Substitute or competitive product. In case, recollect from the previous case, if the price increases, quantity demanded decreases. When? In case of complementary product. Complementary product. So this will be inversely related. This will be directly related. Hope you'll be now able to understand. Income related. In case of normal goods, directly related. Increase and increase, directly related. In case of inferior goods, income increases, demand is decreasing, then it is called indirectly related or inversely related. In case of price of related product, I'm not going to talk about the price of the product, I'm talking about price of the related product. The related product may be substitute or complement. In case of substitute, price increases, demand also increases, directly related substitute. In case of complement, price increases, demand decreases, then it's called inversely related. Hope you'll be now able to understand. So most probably in case of demand, these two items are predominant. Most often these two may be coined as a question. Advertising campaign. If you do more advertisement, and demand naturally will be increasing. If you are always watching the advertisement in your TV, when you go out and you'll attempt to purchase that, automatically demand will increase. And population change. Huge birth rate. Population increases. Ultimately, it increases the demand for the baby goods. And aging population increases. If the aging population increases, then demand for health care will also be increases. Birth rate increases, newborn babies are there, and baby goods also be demanded high. In case of a population getting aged, and then health care related demand will be higher. Is that clear? Taste and fashions trend shift. Sometimes some items may be good enough, but because of the trend shift, we never consume the same, so demand also changes. We still have the other factors like weather condition, expectation, seasonal effects, and government policies. All these things are also playing a vital role. Now, let's see the comparison chart between movement along the curve and shift of the curve. Movement along the curve is due to the price change, and the curve movement is up or down in the same curve or the same curve. If it is being the up, then it is called as extension. In case of down, it will be named as contraction. Shift of the curve is due to non-price factors, otherwise price of the other related commodity. Okay, and here the entire curve moves either left side or right side. Okay, if it moves to the right side, then it is called increase. If it moves to the left side, then it is called decrease. Is that clear? This is what about the main comparison between movement or shift in the curve, demand curve. Let's now move on to the next content, supply. This is just the inverse of the thing what we have learned in quantity demand and demand. Demand is all about consumers' point of view, and supply is all about producers' point of view. Demand will be increasing if the price is decreasing. Supply will be increasing if the price is increasing. If the price is increasing, huge profit will be there for the suppliers. They will be happy to supply more. Okay, supply. Definition of supply. Supply refers to the quantity of the good or services that producers are willing and able to sell at different prices over the time, over a period of time. Okay, the same, they're willing to buy, here willing to sell for the different prices and time. So both are same, like supply and price, supply and price. Okay, there's a direct relationship. If the price increases, quantity supplied also be increasing. If the price decreases, quantity supply being reducing. Producers are more willing to sell if the price increases. Then this will be named as expansion, called contraction. This is contraction, expansion. Is that clear? Now, now, individuals and market supply. Individual and market supply. Similar to the individual and market demand, here also we have the supply in supplier's view. If single producer supply is there, no, that is called individual supplier. Individual supply. The total quantity supplied by all producers will be called market supply. And there we have seen the demand schedule. Here we are going to study supply schedule with supply curve. If the price increases from 1 to 4, quantity supplied also be increasing from 10 to 15, 20, 25. And then the curve looks this way. The curve looks this way. Is that okay? Supply curve looks this way. Okay, this is what about the price. This is what about the quantity supply. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. If the price is 1, the quantity supplied being 10. Okay, I write here. 1 means 10. I mark here. 2 means 15. And 3, 20. And 4, 15. The supply curve looks this way. Okay, moves from left to right, from your left to right, and moves to the top. Okay, from down to top. Okay, now, now, effect of price change. Effect of price change. If price increases, quantity supplied also increases, then it is called extension. Price decreases, quantity supplied also be decreasing, then it is called contraction of supply. Okay. If the price increases from, assume, from probably 1 to 3, supply increases from 4 to 45. This supply schedule is now already posted in supply curve, drawn supply curve. If 1 becomes 3 and the quantity supplied becomes 5 to that 45. So 1 means 5, you know. 2 price, when the price is 2, the quantity supplied being 35. 35. here. And when the price is 3, the quantity supplied being 45 here. And when the price is 4, the quantity supplied being 55. When the price is 5, the quantity supplied being 65. Is that okay? So these are the dots. These are the dots. And if the price moves from 1 to 3, quantity supplied from increases from 5 to 45. Okay. Okay, 5 to 45. This will be called movement along the curve. This is called expansion or extension. Expansion or extension. In a reverse way, if you think this way, this movement will be from right to left. This will be called contraction. So expansion and contraction are being considered, are being only due to price. Other than the price, then it is considered as increase and decrease. Okay. Now conditions of supply. Other than the price. Other than the price means it is a shift of the curve. Shift of the curve, supply curve. Increase in supply, supply curve entirely moves to the right, and decrease in supply curve shifts to the left. Okay. See, now we produced earlier using the semi-automated machines. Later we introduced the automated machine, so we are able to produce more quantity with the same cheapest rate. For 1 rupee using the semi-automated machines, I can produce only 5. Because of automated machine, completely automated machine, for the same 1 rupee I can supply 8 because it's cheaper. If you post these items in the graph, this will be blue color. This will be the first one, semi automated. If you introduce automated, then automatically what happens here? For same 1 rupee you can produce 8, for 5 rupees you can produce 75. It's moving from here to here. Okay, the green color. For 1 the quantity supplied being 8, for 1 the quantity supplied being 8, for 5 rupees the quantity supplied being 75. Okay, this green color is called production using the automated machines, and the entire curve shifts from this place to the right side. This will be called as increase in demand, increase in supply, sorry, increase in quantity supply. Okay, and instead of semi or automated, if I go for what, if I go for manual technology, manual technology is expensive, production will also be lower. For 1 rupee in manual technology I can produce only 2 units. For 5 rupees I can supply only 55 because profit is lesser. If I plot this one, what happens here? This one. Okay, this maroon color says about production or supply using manual. As manual supply cannot be, we cannot rely on the manual supply to produce and sell more. Automatically, what happens here? The supply will be decreasing. This is called decrease in supply. Hope you'll be now able to understand this part. Now, now, causes of changes in supply, changes in cost of production, changes in cost of production. If the cost increases, supply decreases, right? Because their profit is decreasing. They want to sell for the same price, but the cost is increasing. I'm not capable of producing with the much discounted price, then it will be very expensive for me. My profit decreases. So cost increases, supply decreases, and vice versa. If the technology increases, efficiency increases and leads to increase in supply. And taxes, high taxes reduces my profitability, so supply is also reducing. Government gives a subsidy, a stipend, like to produce higher number of units, so we are able to get benefited. Because of the subsidy I can supply more. And whether health of crops and livestock, if these things are good enough, and supply will also be increasing. And if these conditions are poor, supply will also be decreasing. Prices of other products. Okay, see, if you using the steel, you can produce either table or watch. Okay, watch. If you produce a table, around 25 kgs of table, you can fetch around 10,000 rupees. If you produce watches using the same steel, even 10 grams of steel is enough to produce 5,000 rupees worth of watches. 10 grams. So if the steel is being the scarce, and you can produce the steel, means watch using the steel, which gives you more profit, means you shift from producing table to watch. Okay. So if it is being the scarce, and this input can be used for alternative purpose, means the purpose gives you, that production gives you more profit, will be the most wanted item for the producers to produce, right? If other products become more profitable and decrease in supply of current product, so instead of producing table, watch gives you more profit, means you stop producing and start producing the watch. Is that okay? And in case of disasters and wars, disrupt of production will lead to decrease in supply, discoveries and depletion of commodities. Some commodities not available in the market. Okay, depletion happens. In case of new discoveries, high supply will be there. Depletion reduces the supply. So these are the other reasons. Okay, not being the um, price. Price leads to contraction and expansion, and these factors leads to increase or decrease in supply. Hope you'll be able to understand this part.